Hey folks, and welcome to TK Power Sports. That right there is the 2025 Can-AM Outlander 1000R XTP, and it brought me here today, 7,000 feet up to the top of a mountain in beautiful British Columbia, and I want to tell you all about it. So in this video, I'll give you all my ride impressions, and you know we're going to do a top speed run, so make sure you stay tuned. Well folks, we're out here in beautiful British Columbia with Can-Am today riding this, the new Outlander 1000R. And I have Charles with me who knows everything about this machine, so I've got some questions for you, Charles. And I think the first big one is, what changed in the powertrain to help you get to this new high horsepower number?
Yeah, thanks Steven, good question. So it's a completely new V-twin, 999 cc. So to develop 101 HP, for sure we work on a lot of stuff. So first of all, the engine compression ratio was increased up to 11.8. So it's a huge amount of compression ratio to help efficiency, help combustion. So get the most out of this new engine. Secondly, we came with double overhead cam. Used to be single overhead cam. So that's really helping for all the thermodynamic of the engine. So these are the main point, but also to reach that amount of power, you need a good exhaust system. So we've done a lot of analysis just for the exhaust system. Just so you know, we made like 400 iteration of optimization.
Wow.
Using computer, just based on two factors. So we wanted a good noise out of this muffler, but also we wanted to reach these powers. So out of the 400 iteration, we choose the one that gave us the best combination of both.
Sure.
Because this head pipe on the muffler, there's different diameter change. We play with the length and the diameter to really have the best horsepower coming from that exhaust system. Also, big parts coming from the airbox. So we have 14-liter airbox. So that's really helpful to have a good engine that can breathe easily and that can breathe fresh air. So all the pod is really designed to have this fresh air.
I know heat dissipation is a big deal too, and I mean, I can just say from my experience riding it, I didn't feel anything on my legs. It really does feel like the heat's just getting sucked out the back, right? That was the idea.
You're right. So we worked hard on CFD, we call it. So it's model of analysis where we can see how the heat dissipate around the vehicle. So we really made it in a way that the fan on the radiator in front is pushing the air back to the rear of the vehicle with complete enclosed side panel. So the heat is really going up to the rear of the vehicle. So that's how we made it happen. So good engineering.
Got it. So yeah, the horsepower is obviously important too, but if it doesn't get to the ground, then it doesn't matter. So why don't you talk about the transmission a little bit too and the changes to the CVT?
Yeah, you're right. Huge improvement in the CVT. So we brought up the P drive that we had on the snowmobile side by side. So we brought it to this new platform. So the new P drive, the new drive clutch is really helping us output that torque to the ground. And it's combined with a new driven with roller, because before it used to be a driven with slider. So the driven with roller is more efficient, and it really improving the back shift on the vehicle when you are re-accelerating. So both of these two new pulley are really helpful to put it to the ground.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then why don't we talk about suspension a little bit too, because same thing, I know it's sort of fully redesigned, and once again, to take advantage of that power, you need good suspension. So what were the major changes in the suspension for this one?
Yeah, so huge difference. It's really mainly coming from the rear suspension. So we passed from a TTI suspension, so a trailing arm, back to a double A arm. So main advantage why we've done this is, the first point is we wanted to increase suspension travel. We're a couple of guys that worked on the Maverick X3 platform, so based on all the knowledge we made in the last years, we wanted to bring all these knowledge to this platform. So one main criteria is increased suspension travel, which means more comfort to the user, so way more option to do a good calibration job. So the A-arm really allowed us to do this increase of suspension travel. So we passed from 9.9 to 12 inch, so 1 feet of travel, which is quite impressive on these bikes. And more technical in the rear, the double A-arm suspension, we have really a better control on the roll of the vehicle. So having less roll, we are able to do a better job in the damping and in the spring rate of the chuck, because we don't need to compensate because we have big roll on the vehicle.
Okay folks, here we are, Outlander 1000R XTP. We're out here on our first ride of the day. Right now it's just a gravel access road up the side of a mountain. You can see over there, we're way up here. And let's talk about this ATV. So clearly the big story is the power, 101 horsepower out of this 999cc engine. But we also have a fully redesigned suspension setup here as well. New arched A-arms, more clearance, more wheel travel, and that's what I want to talk about first. The handling is so predictable. This thing stays so flat through the corners. It just feels planted to the ground. This unit has the Fox QS3 shocks, Quick Switch 3, and I've got them set on full soft. All of them on 1, and even on 1 it doesn't feel wallowy, doesn't feel like it wants to tip over through the corners, and just really allows you to have fun with it, well, like I said, feeling predictable. Now I'm in 2-wheel drive right now, and yes, the power is amazing. So easy to hang out your rear end around these dirt corners. There is 3 different throttle modes here. I'm just running in normal right now. And the beauty of normal is it's really easy to modulate it right in sort of the middle of the throttle. When you put your thumb to the bar, the thing absolutely jumps, but there's lots of travel in that throttle. So putting it in normal allows you to really be very fine with the throttle. Important when you're trying to do some of this drifting. Now I can also switch it up and put it in sport mode. And I can't do that on the fly. So now I'm in sport mode. And then suddenly, halfway through the throttle travel, there's so much more power available. And man, the power feels incredible, but again, the speeds that I'm hitting, 45 miles an hour through these rough, big rocks, the suspension is just swallowing them up. It's incredible how smooth this thing is staying. And smooth equals predictable, predictable equals fast through the corners. So now, yeah, if you want to show me how you can sort of take this thing apart for maintenance, because I know that was another big focus for you guys, is you want to make sure it's easy for an owner to get in there and fix it themselves. So yeah, why don't you kind of walk us through how it opens up?
Yeah, it's a good point you are bringing, Steven. So we want our customer to be able to do their own maintenance. So we made some really quick, good access to it. So let me show you first the pod. So that's the service center, we call it. So we have 2 quarter turn to turn, and then I have a push button here, which is gonna allow me to lift this thing up.
Cool.
So here you can see a lot of stuff. So we have CVT inlet, so that's where the CVT is taking its fresh air to stay cool. So a lot of analysis were done to ensure CVT compartments stay cool, to have a belt which is in lower temperature for durability. Here you have access to the air filter of this engine. So remove these 2 clips, and now you have direct access to the air filter, so easily removable. You just pull it straight, and then you can have access to your air filter.
Cool. And is that a cleanable air filter? Like you could blow it out, or it's meant to be replaced?
For sure you can clear up your foam over it.
Sure.
And under it's a paper filter.
Got it.
Yeah. Here you have coolant, and you have fuse. So easy access to important point to validate.
Yeah. Yeah, and just important, I think, as the rider to know, you know, this is where the air is coming from. Don't go deeper than that.
Yeah.
But it's also the highest point on the vehicle, right?
You're right. You're right. That's where up to you can go into water.
Yeah.
I can show you the side if you want.
Please.
So quickly, I'm just gonna remove the seat. You can remove the seat. And we made this really nice, clever, and nice access to the engine.
Beauty.
So you only have a quick clip here. Then you have access to your oil dipstick here. Then I'm gonna remove this panel. I had 1 bolt to remove prior to this. And then you can easily access, there's another inner fender here too, but you have easy access to your oil filter. But one also nice point is the ease of cleaning. So you can go with your pressure washer right in there.
Right.
And you have access to the rear master cylinder oil right there.
Got it. Where is the battery located?
Battery, it's a good point, Steven. So battery is right there. Used to be under the seat.
Got it.
Move right there. Still we have good point of access under the seat if you want to boost your vehicle.
Yeah.
So if you come closer, you will be able to see we have access to a ground here.
Got it.
And positive here, so you can be able to put a booster or trickle charger in your garage easily.
Perfect. And then yeah, why don't we pull off the other side too, just so we can sort of see it. But I mean, I think the point that has to be driven home is, you know, in a matter of minutes, you can have this whole thing just opened up and, you know, ready to be worked on.
Yeah. So another easy panel like the other side, easy access. You can remove this one. Then you have complete access to all the CVT bolts. You don't need to remove the footboard. Easy access to all these bolts if you want to look your belt, look your CVTs. So that's real nice.
Yeah.
And maybe if I can just showcase you 1 point here.
Yeah.
So you see we have an outlet CVT when we're talking about heat management too. So the CVT, we have a CVT inlet that bring fresh air from here to the CVT, but air needs to come out, of course. So the hot air is coming out through these heat shields. So it's also helping to push the air outside of the vehicle.
Yeah, very smart, man. Very, very cool. All right, I mean, I think that basically shows off some of the major changes. I think my last question, it's one I like to ask. Do you have a favorite part of this new machine? Is there one system, one aspect of it that you're especially proud of, that you're happy to see it come to life?
Yeah, I know you tested this bike, and what you can realize riding it is that it's all these little details on all the bikes that make it stand out. So engine, suspension, but one other main point is all the steering system. So it comes down to all the steering geometry change we made, up to this new handlebar with a riser on it.
Got it.
So this XTP package is coming with a specific sport ergonomic, we call it. So it have a straighter handlebar. We bought this beefy handlebar 35mm here with sport and guard, and with our own grip design. It's not a standard straight circle. We play with geometry within millimeters to make it feel better. So all this combo, I mean, it's adding to the detail, precision of the bike. So that gives you that next level ride.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's it for me. Thanks, Charles. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, it was nice.
Continuing on here, folks, we're now going back down the mountain, which is a good chance to feel the brakes and to feel the intelligent engine braking. So there's actually different settings for Can-Am's engine brake. You have a minimum and you have a maximum. And so I've got it set in max right now. And on this hill, I mean, this is a high speed hill, so it's not like you want to creep along. But what it does give you is, again, that sense of control. The second you chop the throttle and let off, it just still feels like the machine has that direct connection. It feels like the belt is hooked up. And here's that word again, confidence and predictable. And that's exactly what it feels like with the IEB at max. And now I'm running slower, 15 miles an hour. And at these speeds, you really, really feel it. Now I'm gonna take it down to minimum now, try and feel the difference. So now I pick up a bit of speed and I let off. Oh yeah, and it just wants to coast. And now it's actually picking up speed. Unlike when it was in max and it felt like it was just sort of maintaining my downhill speed. Now it really feels like when I let off the throttle and kind of chop it, it wants to pick up down the hill. So this is more what an ATV, normally feels like. But I really love that control that comes from the max IEB. Now I think in a work scenario, this would also be amazing if you had a trailer on the back. Again, you want to feel like you're in control, that thing's not getting away from you. So I can talk ergonomics a little now. I'm sitting down here. The bars are a little wide. Feel like a little wider than I'm used to, but I think that kind of matches sort of the planting feeling of this machine. Seat comfort is good. It's a nice cushy seat. I like the footwells too. They're quite big. That's important. Most guys, you might ride with a typical riding boot, but I myself ride often in big rubber boots up north. And when you got a big old rubber boot on, you want to make sure your foot's not feeling like it's going to get caught. Like you can replant your feet whenever you need to. And this totally feels like that. Once again, with the IB on, it just wants to slide around the corners, but not in a sketchy way whatsoever. Now, talking about the brakes themselves, the one thing you do have to note is there is no brake lever over here on my right hand. Can-Am has eliminated that, so it's only left hand and then foot. So you got to get used to that. ATVs for so long had a brake lever on both sides. So if you're used to that style of riding and grabbing with your right hand, it takes a moment to retrain your brain to just ride with your fingers up on the left, or to make sure you mash that foot brake. But in terms of the brakes themselves, again, we're moving with speed. Here comes a corner, hard brakes, it digs in. Now that's one of the hardware differences from the 1000 to the 850. Here on the 1000, we get 4 corner disc brakes, whereas on the 850, they do 3 calipers for the brakes. So one of the axles only gets a single caliper. So you're not going to feel quite as strong braking performance out of that 850. And that is important that they differentiate these two machines, because they are actually the exact same engine. The 850 is just detuned down to less power. So you know what, knowing that, and knowing that even the 850 is quite powerful, it was important, I think, for Can-Am to offer some hardware some features on the 1000 that you're not gonna find on that 850. And yeah, the braking performance is just one of them. And it's noticeable, man. These grabbers, they grab, no doubt. And folks, this is what it's all about right here. There's my 1000R that got me here. And there's just an unbelievable mountain view. That's actually Revelstoke Mountain back there, pretty famous here in BC. And yeah, we're at about 7,000 feet right now, and this is what it's all about. This is why we come ride these things. Riding up that mountain, there was some rough, rocky, rutted out sections. But again, suspension travel here is just ridiculous. So honestly, it was incredibly smooth. When I first started, I had it in DPS minimum. My arms were starting to bark a bit. It turned it up to max, no problem, eats that stuff up. So yeah, another incredible location thanks to an ATV. Now let's just look at the features on this unit right here. First of all, you're getting this nice orange painted front bumper, really nice recovery points right there, tow hooks. You're also getting the integrated winch down there in the front end. And then all new styling, including these new LED signature lights. So we can go ahead and just turn them on. And you can see those signature LEDs right up here. And those are also only gonna come on your 1000R XTP. Not all the models get those upgraded lights, so that's just another way to be able to tell these different units apart. We also have the integrated light bar on this unit that is an accessory, but the one thing that's worth noting is this bumper now has integrated mounting points for lights. So you can get a light bar, you can get individual light pods, but you don't actually need to add the mount anymore. That thing is ready to go. Another thing they've done is this grill down here is an easy to remove pop out grill. Let's see if I can do it with one hand. Just like that. And the beauty there is then you get access into your radiator. So if you're cleaning this thing after a long day out on the trails, you've been running in some mud, or you got some leaves or sticks jammed up in there, it's really that easy to take that grill off. Now when it comes to the racks, what they've basically done is they took all the changes that they made to the smaller Outlander 570 and 700, and they brought them over here to the big guy. So that means we get these integrated storage bins right there. This is honestly so nice. Love having these integrated. You can pop this lid off of here too if you just want open storage. There's link attachment points down in there. So you can get fuel caddies, coolers, a chainsaw holder, all kinds of accessories that fit down in that box. But still nice to have the box. You can see there, your max load in the front is 120 pounds. And then also holes here for more link accessories. So they really have allowed lots of accessorization here. There's your hand guards on the 1000R. They're a little bit smaller than on the limited model, a little sporty looking, but there they are right there. Looking at the cockpit area, you are getting that large screen up in front. Now the limited model gets a brand new 10.25 inch touch screen, which is really cool, and I can show you that right here. But the rest of these models, they just come with this old school screen still, nice and big, all the information you need. And then a new set of handlebars, which are really beefy, really thick, and really quite stiff as well. You get your integrated winch control there on your handlebar, which is nice. Your start button right there, which also acts as your DPS mode button. And then over here you have your 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive, your diff lock, your ITC, that's intelligent throttle control, so that's going to be your sport mode and work mode. And then on the back there is your IEB, which is intelligent engine braking. And you're going to be able to get different settings for your engine braking as well, which is neat. Now the model I'm riding today has the big cargo box on the back end, so I can show you at least one accessory. Open up these rubber clips. And there you go. I've been storing my jacket in here all day, my audio equipment, some more camera equipment, and then just some gloves over here. But there's tons of space. And what I really like is just this little tray, because you can see it has this rubber on it. And in the lid, there's actually a little cutout for it. So this should actually stay, you know, especially watertight and airtight as compared to everything else, although there is a nice rubber all the way along here too. So that should keep the elements out pretty well. But I really like that box. And what I like is that they take advantage of the fact that the racks have that cutout in them. So when you look down in here, yeah, it's really quite deep because it's going down inside of that rack. Now at the very rear end, you get that rear bumper, also orange painted, but that's gonna help you stay protected. And then every single one of these models will have a standard 2-inch hitch receiver. Tow rating here is just a little above 1,800 pounds. And now we're on this little forest loop here, folks, some more tight technical terrain rather than that wide open gravel road. But even here, man, the thing slides, but super progressively. And the power's so good, you can just break that rear end loose, even in this much more tacky dirt. And then the other big thing is, I mean, this trail's rutted, it's roots, it's rocks, but in full soft, especially when I'm sitting down, it's ridiculous how smooth this thing is, just because of how much suspension travel there is here. And that's also why I think it is safe to say this really comes across as an easy ATV to ride. Now, besides the fact that at full power, it does kind of want to pull out of your hands. But outside of that, because it's so smooth, so comfortable, and you have access to that power, it really makes it easy. And this is one of those ATVs where as you build up your confidence with it, you can keep on pushing further and further. Like, I don't feel like I found the limit of this thing yet. And I've been pushing it pretty much to the best of my capabilities. So this is that type of machine, and that's what you want in a high horsepower machine. This is the top echelon of ATVs. You don't want to buy this and then be disappointed that you feel like you can't squeeze more out of it. It takes quite a rider to get every ounce of performance out of this thing. So the majority of buyers are going to bring this home and then have to work to bring their level up to the ATV and not the other way around. The other thing I'm glad to see is Can-Am did resist going wider with the Outlander. It's still, you know, just under 50 inches wide. And I do think that's important. There's still lots of trail systems that are only set up for 50 inches. So unlike other brands and other models, Can-Am didn't say, you know what, the only way to get the stability is to go wider. And let's see if I can get to top speed here. I don't know if I have enough space, but we're gonna try it. Top speed here on the Outlander 1000R, at least close to it. Right now, launching. 3, 2, 1, go. And it loves to wheelie. Well, I saw 75 miles per hour, and honestly, I'm sure there's more. That's just the longest stretch I have here to really test it. But if I had more space, it would have kept on creeping up. And yeah, and needless to say, but 75 on an ATV feels insane, feels ridiculously fast. But that's why you're coming to this category of machine. Anybody spending this money, wanting the 1000, you want to make sure you're getting that top end performance, and I honestly can't imagine anyone being disappointed with 75 miles an hour on their Outlander. Well, folks, that's the end of this one, and I am beat from a big day of riding. Now, what can you say about this Outlander 1000? It's a ridiculous amount of power, but maybe more importantly, it's the suspension and the features to match all of that new horsepower. So like I said, that's it for this one. Now I need to hear from you. Drop into the comments. Let me know what you think of this new ATV and everything you saw in this video. And as always, while you're down below, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member of the channel, and then come right back here to TK Power Sports to see what we're testing next. See ya.